trying to catch some of these. Yeah, they're like cotton trees in bloom. That is so loud. That's gonna fuck that up really bad. You can go to the library and hang out with the great writers, like our friend Mark Twain.
We're trying voiceover for the first time because I whispered throughout the library as one should. I thought it was this whole complicated thing from trying before, but turns out you just need the right software. Although I'm pretty sure you can hear my computer fan as loud as I am. I make a point to not apologize for AV quality because I'm learning.
Here, reading the notices next to each piece of art, I again run into being the slower reader than my companion. Here we are at a fancy party.
I really am a Luddite. As for everything else, like appearances or really anything, I feel like apologies just waste a viewer's time. Whatever a creator makes just kind of is what it is. I think as an avid content viewer myself. But if you are terribly curious about how this channel might be improved, I am working on an Amazon wishlist that'll be linked below. We discussed our travels, what places brought out different facets of ourselves, the people who traveled with us and their reactions, favorites and mishaps, really fun stories from all over. We hung out through the exhibit, then doubled back to phone because it's important to be present and to be able to speak freely, whether it's especially personal or considered inappropriate. We can have a personal relationship too over time. We'll see if it gets inappropriate.
I've driven in the rain so much. It's one of my favorite ways to drive. Anything kind of like vintage and run down. I don't think everything has to be brand new, and this is really pretty to me.
Each of the 17 art pieces had information on the artist, their technique, and what was intended to be evoked. It's very interesting and inspirational for your own crafts to have an experience like this. This one said, I asked myself, who am I? What kind of paintings are real for me? I am a landscape artist, and when I thought of where I was reared and where my roots are, it's rural. For myself, I find the plains of the Midwest a particular kind of stunning. The flatlands leave no interruption for sunrises and sunsets that are as rich as if on the beach. I've taken to thinking of being in such a rural place as hiding in plain sight sometimes when I think of what a sanctuary it's been to me. It can be peaceful and intense. I feel really good out here. This land and some of the people entirely have my love and immense gratitude. There's all different types of rural settings, and it was pointed out to me there was a happy cow in this one picture, like a seek and find where somebody else might catch something in a painting you didn't, including this one.
So it's got almost like a poltergeist looking face in it. There's different stuff that you can catch the longer that you look at it.
Something doesn't have to be critically acclaimed for you to enjoy it. If you're a fan of alternative stylings, you know this well.
Neither of us are big Andy Warhol fans. It feels a lot like something that was more exciting before everyone had a camera. This one talks about how the artist likes to put things in your imagination that are just off of the artwork's frame. So you can guess at kind of what's happening outside of it. The 1950s is one of my favorite eras. It's just so fun for me to listen to the music, to see the styles of the time. It's just the best. This says roadside stand, local produce, and canoe atop a car, which I have been on so many canoeing trips and I have helped, oh my gosh, so many loadouts and seen so much hauling of canoes on top of cars and jeeps. This one says, inspired by the journey to freedom undertaken by Ringgold's enslaved ancestors, the two figures walking along the path are on a journey more daunting than others in this exhibition, but one that plays a significant role in the history of America. I do like the ominous look of it and how, of course, the yellow road, I think yellow usually represents happiness. So you can find your road to happiness even if it's quite dark and scary around you. My companion went to the Black Hills in South Dakota and saw Mount Rushmore just recently. This one is of a tranquilized elephant, and it's sad, but definitely really interesting. And even just seeing like what the old sheriff cars used to look like. This one's just super happy and cute. It says the top half of a blue car driving down a hill out of sight communicate a sense of motion and progress. That it does.
Art is so subjective. I don't think it should be considered offensive if you have a strong opinion for or against it. It's your call.
We didn't really like the embroidery on the print as much, but we thought that this part was neat where it's stitched and here as well.
I hope you find something fun to do at your library. I might need one a little bit more often because I used to have tons of books and someone convinced me to get rid of them in the name of minimalism, but now I kind of wish that I hadn't because it's not that I mind traveling lighter, it's that I did intend to actually read all of them. So be careful what you toss out at someone else's behest. This is a wild giant version of a plant I had. Bibliomancy is using books for divination, so you can find one that calls to you, open to a random page, and see what message might be in it for you. Other times, I'm sure you've just generally noticed you read the right book or see the right movie at a time you might have specifically needed. And you could just read the titles in a row for amusement. These that say infinite in the dark, immoral. One says spilled blood.
We're in the fiction section. Is your life a work of fiction or nonfiction? I personally love to add a lot of fantasy to mine. President Roosevelt was part of the groundbreaking ceremony here. We can look into occultism or psychology. I'll have to go for occultism. Do you remember how to read the Dewey Decimal System?
Careful in the nonfiction section. Some age like wine, others like milk. Some things are always timeless.
In the nonfiction, of course, we have vampire history, Salem witch trials, psychic and paranormal books.
I grew up with mythology and William Durant. I love books on piracy, medieval times, spiritually instructional ones. It can be just as good as fantasy.
I like to be supernatural. Cursed objects, UFOs, monster hunting. I hope you can get out to the library. Might learn a thing or two about Bigfoot. My life has been full of road trips since I was 2 years old, living all over the country. This is the On the Road Again art exhibit, and I've even gotten to the point where I did interstate travel every couple of weeks for a very long time. And I still to this day love traveling across the country. Unconvinced to go to a graveyard, my companion went to this beautiful art exhibit at the library with me. They're reading Peter Pan. So I can't be the most animated while my bentonite clay mask dries. I'm going to leave it on for a full 20 minutes. We're already a good way through. And I'm going to use coconut oil to remove anything else on my face, which is the easiest way and fastest, besides maybe tears, to take any product off of your eyes. And yeah, it's so cold outside that I'm going to get into a warm shower, which I'm inspired to do even just going between a building and a vehicle because it is just beyond freezing out there. And yeah, looking like this and getting into some warm water, hopefully I could attract like the creature from the Black Lagoon. I love that synchronized swimming scene in the old black and white. It's fantastic if you haven't seen it. What's that playing on the radio? Why do eyes come swaying to and fro? I have never heard that song before. But if I don't hear it anymore,